Starlight Keep HFY presents Starlight Keep. Chapter 2. Crossed Signals. The gentle hum of Starlight Keep's engines provided a soothing serenade as Althea made her way to the Whispering Woods, a biodome replicating a serene elven forest. She often retreated here to meditate among the luminescent flora and the soft rustle of leaves, a haven that reminded her of home. As she stepped onto the moss-covered path, tiny spores floated upward, illuminating her steps with a soft glow. The trees whispered ancient songs, their melodies intertwining with the subtle energies of the station. Althea closed her eyes, allowing the harmonious vibrations to wash over her. "Figured I'd find you here," a familiar voice echoed through the foliage. She opened her eyes to see Garrick approaching, his uniform exchanged for casual attire, a simple shirt and trousers that somehow made him seem less the stern security chief and more an adventurer exploring unknown realms. "Garrick," she greeted with a hint of surprise. "To what do I owe this unexpected visit?" He shrugged, a playful smile tugging at his lips. "I thought I'd see what all the fuss is about. Everyone talks about the Whispering Woods, but I haven't had the chance to experience it myself." Althea arched an elegant eyebrow. "And you decided now was the perfect time?" "Well, I could use a break from protocols and patrols," he admitted. "Besides, I was hoping you could give me a tour." She considered him for a moment, then gestured for him to join her. "Very well, but be warned. The woods have a way of revealing truths." "Is that so?" he chuckled, falling into step beside her. They walked along the winding path, the bioluminescent plants casting ethereal patterns on their faces. Althea pointed out various flora, explaining their origins and properties. Garrick listened attentively, occasionally asking questions that revealed his genuine interest. "Touch this," she said, indicating a cluster of delicate flowers with petals like spun silver. He reached out cautiously, and as his fingers brushed the petals, the flowers emitted a soft chime, resonating with the other plants around them. "Remarkable," he breathed. "It's like they're singing." "They respond to intent," Althea explained. "Elven children often play music with them." Garrick grinned. "Think they'd mind if a human joined in?" "Only one way to find out," she replied, a mischievous glint in her eyes. He began to gently tap and brush the flowers, creating a series of notes that, while earnest, lacked the fluidity of Althea's earlier demonstration. She laughed softly at his efforts. "Not quite the virtuoso, am I?" he said, feigning disappointment. "It's not about skill, but connection," she assured him. "Here, allow me." Standing beside him, she guided his hands with her own, their fingers interlacing over the petals. Together, they coaxed a harmonious melody from the blossoms. The air around them seemed to shimmer, the woods responding to their joint presence. As the last notes faded, they realized how close they were standing. A moment of comfortable silence stretched between them, the ambient glow highlighting the subtle hues in Garrick's eyes. "You're a quick learner," Althea said softly. "Good teacher," he replied, his voice equally subdued. Just then, a rustling sound broke their reverie. From behind a cluster of ferns emerged Thorin Ironstar, his sturdy frame and ever-furrowed brow instantly recognizable. "There you are," Thorin huffed, his gravelly voice tinged with annoyance. "I've been looking all over for you two." Garrick cleared his throat, stepping back. "What's the matter, Thorin?" "The matter is that someone thought it'd be funny to recalibrate the external sensors without informing engineering," Thorin grumbled, casting a suspicious glance at Althea. She met his gaze calmly. "I merely suggested an adjustment to improve efficiency." Well, your adjustment triggered a cascade that nearly fried half the sensor array, he retorted. Garrick held up a placating hand. All right, let's not get heated. Thorin, I'll come down to engineering and we'll sort it out. Thorin grunted. See that you do. With a final pointed look, he trudged back the way he came. Althea sighed. I didn't anticipate such a reaction. I only wanted to help. Thorin's just set in his ways, Garrick reassured her. He doesn't like surprises, especially when it comes to his domain. Perhaps I should apologize, she mused. Give him some time to cool off. In the meantime, care to join me for a walk to engineering? She smiled lightly. Are you asking for my company or my expertise? Maybe a bit of both, he admitted. Besides, you might prevent me from saying something that sets Thorin off again. Very well, she agreed. Lead the way. As they made their way to the engineering decks, the atmosphere shifted. The pristine aesthetics of the upper levels gave way to the utilitarian design of the station's core. The rhythmic thrum of machinery gave off the occasional hiss of steam. You know, Garrick began, Thorin isn't the only one who's been on edge lately. Oh, Althea prompted. There have been reports of unauthorized access in restricted areas, he explained. Nothing concrete yet, but it's got the security teams on alert. Do you suspect anyone in particular? He hesitated. It's hard to say. With so many species aboard, it's a challenge to monitor everything. She regarded him thoughtfully. It must be a heavy burden, ensuring the safety of all. He shrugged. Comes with the job, but enough about that. Tell me more about your homeworld. What's it like? A soft expression crossed her face. It's difficult to describe to someone who hasn't experienced it. Imagine a place where the lines between the physical and the ethereal blur. Forests that stretch beyond sight, their canopies intertwined with the stars themselves. Sounds peaceful, he said. It is, but it can also be isolating, she admitted, which is why I chose to explore the stars, to seek connections beyond our own realm. They arrived at engineering, where Thorin was already immersed in a tangle of conduits. He glanced up as they approached. Back so soon? He muttered. Ready to fix the mess we apparently made, Garrick said lightly. Thorin grumbled something unintelligible, but moved aside to let them access the console. As they worked to recalibrate the sensors, a subtle tension lingered. Garrick and Althea exchanged glances, their earlier moment in the Whispering Woods unspoken, yet still lingered with unanswered questions. Hand me the plasma wrench, Thorin demanded. Garrick obliged, but as he did, an unexpected jolt coursed through the console. Sparks flew, and Althea instinctively raised a protective barrier, her hands weaving intricate patterns as a shimmering shield enveloped them. What in the stars was that? Thorin exclaimed. Garrick examined the console. Looks like a feedback loop. Must be a faulty relay. Althea lowered the barrier, her expression concerned. Are you both all right? Fine, thanks to you, Garrick said, meeting her gaze with appreciation. Thorin huffed. Well, I suppose your fancy tricks have their uses. She inclined her head. High praise coming from you. A hint of a smile tugged at the engineer's lips. Don't let it go to your head. They resumed their work, and within the hour, the sensors were fully operational. As they wrapped up, Thorin nodded gruffly. Good teamwork. Next time, just give me a heads up before you tweak things. Understood, Althea replied graciously. As she and Garrick left engineering, the tension had eased, replaced by a comfortable camaraderie. See? That wasn't so bad, Garrick remarked. Indeed. Though I suspect Thorin secretly enjoys our company, she said with a twinkle in her eye. He laughed. That's a generous interpretation. They strolled back toward the central decks, the path illuminated by the soft glow of maintenance lights. Thank you, Garrick said after a moment. For what? She asked, glancing at him. For earlier, in the woods, and for having my back in there, he clarified. It's good to know there's someone I can rely on. She smiled gently. The feeling is mutual. A comfortable silence settled between them, each lost in their thoughts, yet attuned to the other's presence. As they reached the juncture where their paths diverged, Garrick paused. So, same time tomorrow? She tilted her head slightly. Are you suggesting we make our walks a routine? Perhaps, he said, a hint of hopefulness in his tone. Unless you have objections. No objections, she replied softly. Good night, Garrick. Good night, Althea. They parted ways, each carrying the unspoken promise of new connections to be made.